was released in 1965 and is directed by Richard Lesster and stars the Beatles. Yes, Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison and Ringo Starr all starred in their own films during the 60s, their own Beatles films. They starred in A Hard Day's Night in 1964. They also went to go and star in A Magical Mystery Tour, which was a TV movie in 1967, and they also made an appearance in Yellow Submarine in 1967, which although was a cartoon animated film and didn't actually have the real Beatles voicing the Beatles characters in that film, the Beatles did actually make a cameo appearance at the end of the film on the DVD release of Yellow Submarine. But anyway, Help, like I said, was released in 1965 and stars Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison and Ringo Starr, aka the Beatles. Yes, the Beatles are in this film. But basically, the story revolves around a ring on Ringo's finger. As we see at the start of the film, this cult, this strange Indian cult, wants the ring off Ringo's finger so they can perform their tribal rituals. I'm not making any of this up, by the way. This is all a part of the film, and it's gonna get even wackier. Basically, this cult wants the ring off Ringo's finger, so they're gonna do whatever they can to get that ring off Ringo's finger. But at the same time though, Ringo starts to notice that people want this ring off his finger. But he doesn't care. He wants to take the ring off his finger if he can. But he can't. Whatever he does, he just can't get the ring off his finger. He goes to these scientists, well, these supposedly scientists, and tries to get the ring off his finger. But then these two male scientists who just start bumbling about for the rest of the film, it turns out they also want the ring. So now they got the cult and these two other men chasing after Ringo to get the ring. Whilst at the same time though, the Beatles, because well, they're the Beatles, are also trying to record songs for their new album, Help, hence in the film, Help. So yes, we do actually get songs from the Beatles album Help in this film. But then basically, they're trying to record songs, but they can't do whilst this cult is after them. So they ask for protection. So there is actual scenes in the film where the Beatles are trying to record songs around them they have like armies of protection as they try and record songs, which is quite funny to watch. But anyway, basically, that's the plot of the film. Basically, there's a cult chasing after Ringo to get this ring off his finger, and there's also two scientists, well, two supposedly scientists who turn out to be, one of them turns out to be a surgeon at one stage, and these two guys are bumbling about it throughout the film and trying to get the ring off Ringo's finger as well. At the same time though, Ringo would just get the ring off his finger, but he can't. So basically the cult have to go and try and kill Ringo. So it goes into a bit of a kill Ringo film, which is a bit weird. But basically, it's messy, it's convoluted, it's all over the place. This is one of those films where characters will literally turn to the camera and wink at the audience and actually say to the camera, you know, break the fourth wall. They will actually say to the camera and go, "Don't worry, I'm on their side." This is one of those films where it's like that. And at the same time, the Beatles, yes, they're in this film and they're bumbling about for the course of the film. They don't really play any significance to the plot at all. Honestly, Ringo doesn't really either. Arguably he does, because obviously he's got the ring on his finger, but if it's someone else who had the ring on his finger, it would be a film about that other person. So the Beatles don't actually play much significance to the plot at all, and yet if they weren't in it, it'd be a completely different film. And you know, it's messy, it's convoluted, it's all over the place, it's a pastiche of those earlier Bond films starring the late great Sean Connery, and at the same time though, it is a Beatles film in the end. And you know what? I absolutely love this film. And I don't love it just because it's a Beatles film. I'm clearly a fan of the Beatles, but I don't love the film just because it's a Beatles film. I love it for loads of other reasons. But just before I get into those reasons why I love this film so much, I'm just going to say this. If you're one of those people that think the Beatles are overrated, please get off your high horse. You are simply wrong. You are simply wrong if you think the Beatles are overrated. Because honestly, the Beatles changed music forever. They are probably one of, if not the most influential band in music history. I'm not even joking. Any artist that you've grown up listening to, any artist that you may listen to now, they probably in some way, and almost definitely, owe some debt to the Beatles in some sort of way. Definitely some of the most famous bands in music history definitely owe debt to the Beatles. You know, Rolling Stones, definitely. The Kinks, definitely. Queen, definitely. Elton John, definitely. In Elton John's version, at least in Sky and Diamonds, John Lennon's actually playing. Also, if you look at other artists such as David Bowie, yeah, he's definitely owes some debt to the Beatles. Look at an artist like Oasis. Honestly, Oasis definitely do. Noel and Liam Gallagher have even said. And at the same time, though, if you listen, I'm not even joking, if you listen to a Beatles song, then listen to an Oasis song, I guarantee you they might sound quite similar, and there's a good reason for that. And at the same time, Arctic Monkeys, McFly, I guarantee you all these rock bands definitely owe some debt to the Beatles. And at the same time, I bet every artist in the whole world owes some sort of debt in some sort of way to the Beatles. You know, it might not seem like it on the surface, but I bet they do. And honestly, they're one of the most influential bands in music history. You know, they started off doing soft rock songs, you know, in the early albums. You know, they started off with, you know, Please Please Me, with the Beatles, Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale. And they did some pretty good soft rock songs. And I'm actually a huge fan of the Hard Day's Night song. And in the album Help, their sound started to gradually change. And they changed into Rubber Soul, into Revolver, and especially in Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, where their sound literally influence so many musical artists and so many musical bands to come in the future. Honestly, they changed the sound of music in the best way. Honestly, they put orchestral instruments with rock instruments, and they did things which had never been done in music before. And they are honestly such an influential and such an amazing band. And if you're one of those people that think the Beatles are overrated, you are simply wrong. You just are. But anyway, let's go back onto the film now. The film Help. I love this film, and I don't love this film just because it's a Beatles film, like I said before. There's actually a number of reasons I love this film, and funnily enough, none of the big reasons actually falls into the fact that it's a Beatles film. I mean, clearly it is a Beatles film. Clearly it's a Beatles film. There are actually moments in the film where you're like, that's clearly the Beatles. You know, if you've seen a Beatles music video before, like, I don't know, Strawberry Fields Forever, or so on and so on and so on, you'd probably notice some of those, you know, like, techniques used in this film as well. For example, actually in the closing credits of the film, it got quite psychedelic, and I was like, oh yeah, that's clearly the Beatles having influence over the film. But at the same time, though, I think you can still find enjoyment in this film, even if you just know of the Beatles. And if you don't have the Beatles, we're quite literally living under a rock. It's just a really, really fun film. Because honestly, the big reasons I love this film is because of this. It's messy and it's convoluted, and it knows that. It's absolutely laugh out loud hilarious. Not just like, oh, I'll chuckle at a few moments in the film. No, this is a laugh out loud hilarious film, which I laughed out loud through almost all the film. I mean, I didn't laugh all the time. Bear in mind, this is a film made in the 60s. It's got quite a lot of 60s comedy in there, which not all of it I understood. Being such a huge fan of the Beatles, I did understand quite a few references, because I've seen quite a few Beatles documentaries, so I understood some of those 1960 references, which maybe some other people wouldn't. But at the same time, though, it is still laugh out hilarious. You don't have to be, you don't have to know the Beatles to find this film funny. You know, there's actually one scene in particular where, I'm not even joking, this is actually a scene in the film. Basically, Ringo, the co, is still after him at this point in the film. Basically, he falls through a trapdoor in a pub, and under this trapdoor is a tiger. And the only way to calm this tiger down, and I'm not even joking here, is if everyone around the tiger sings Beethoven's Ode to Joy. I think now you get this scene where literally everyone around the tiger singing Ode to Joy, and you get these crowds of people singing Ode to Joy. And that's actually seen in the film, and I could not stop laughing. I mean, just thinking about that scene now, it just brings a huge smile to my face. Honestly, I could not stop laughing at that scene in the film. It is absolutely hilarious. And just, the scenes lied down in the film. That's one of the most wacky and stupid and yet funny scenes in the film that I was laughing out loud at. That scene alone, just, it shows you what the film is like. It's messy and it's convoluted, and it knows that. It kind of delivers on that. And there's way too many plot lines in the film. There's way too many moments where you're just like, how did that connect to that? And you know, moments where characters will actually turn to the camera and go, don't worry, I'm on their side. But you know what? That all works. And it works because, well, it knows it's that. I feel it knows it's messy, it knows it's convoluted, it knows that, you know, that scene didn't really go together with that scene, but you know what, it's gonna try and make it work anyway, because you are literally just sat there like, how is this all coming together? And then somehow it does, and somehow it comes together in such a messy and convoluted way that you just can't help but enjoy it. Honestly, it is one of those films which, although it is all those things which I would normally criticise with a film, it actually makes the film better. Also, the fact that it's a Beatles film, and yet the Beatles don't play much significance to the plot at all. Normally I would criticise that quite a lot, but actually it makes the film so much funnier, because the Beatles are just kind of bumbling about through the course of the film. Like, even Ringo, which arguably the plot is revolved around, there's more revolved around the ring on his finger, even Ringo doesn't play much significance, yet, you know, they're just bumbling about throughout the film. I'm not gonna lie, the Beatles can't act in this film at all. None of them can really act, at least in this film anyway. They all have the same tone of the voice throughout the film. Literally there's like moments where they just go, Ringo, are you okay? Like, literally, as if nothing's happening. Like, they'll be in a fight sequence, and they just have the same tone of voice throughout the whole of the scene. The Beatles can't act in the film. But actually, that kind of made me laugh more. Like, when I said, when you're in fight sequences, and they just have the same tone of voice, it is really, really funny. Get everything around, you know, it's a life and death situation going around them, and yet they don't seem to care that much, and it's actually really funny to watch. And at the same time, though, it is a pastiche of those early Bond films. I wouldn't say it's a parody. A parody implies it's making fun of those early Bond films. I actually think it's honouring them in a way. I actually think it's playing somewhat of a tribute to them. What I mean by that is literally, I bet the Beatles were actually fans of the early Bond films, by the way. I mean, look at Live and Let Die. Paul McCartney actually wrote the theme song for that film, the main song for Live and Let Die. So you can clearly tell that they're a fan of the early Bond films, and you can clearly tell that in this film alone. Honestly, there are moments in the film where you'll have a scene like it's almost out of one of those earlier Bond films starring the late great Sean Connery. You have moments where like two villains will meet up with each other, and it looks like it's some fancy island, like you're having a Bond film, but then it turns out to be this posh part of Britain, and the camera will zoom out as posh part of Britain. There's some scenes where it looks like it's going to go into a Bond film at some stage. Some, you know, the earlier Bond films, the better Bond films. Even the musical score sometimes sounds like it's going to go into the main James Bond theme. Like, literally, there was one moment in the film where I was like, oh my god, they're actually going to play the main James Bond theme. Then it turned into A Hard Day's Night, you know, the Hard Day's Night Night song, but in a big orchestral jazzy like Bond style, which works really, really well in the film. Honestly, I'm a huge fan of the score for the film. You know, just the fact that the score was actually making me laugh, and just the fact that the score was making me laugh, shows you how much the film was working. I enjoyed myself from beginning to end, and I had a huge smile on my face. That's not to say the film doesn't have problems. Honestly, it does have problems. Bear in mind, this is a film made in the 60s, and if this film came out now, there'll be a whole thing about racial stereotypes. This code that we're meant to be following, this code that's after Ringo the Ring, is meant to be Indian. And, well, they don't look Indian. They're all white. And, you know, if this film came out now, there'd be a whole thing about racial stereotypes. But the thing is, this film came out in the 60s, the mid-60s. You gotta think that when you watch the film. So don't be one of those people that, oh, that's clearly racist. No, this film has been in the 60s. It is a bit outdated now, just in terms of representations. But apart from that, I actually struggle to criticise anything about this film. I mean, it is messy and it is convoluted, but it knows that. It does this and it does that, and it goes from place to place, almost like it is a Bond film, but actually it knows what it's doing, and I think it does it in the best way. I laughed a lot in this film. This is a Beatles film in the end, but you don't have to be a Beatles fan to like this film. You don't. Even if you just know of the Beatles, I think you will enjoy this film. If you are going to watch the film, I want you to go and check out our Beatles music video before you do. You have a bit of an idea what you're going in for, but you'd still enjoy this film even if you're not a Beatles fan. I have that little bit more enjoyment with it because I'm just a huge Beatles fan, so it was a bit funny watching, you know, everyone after Ringo in the end. It also has this great soundtrack with full of Beatles songs in there. You know, you have Help in there, you have A Need, you have Another Girl, so many great Beatles songs from the album Help in there. You also have this fantastic musical score, which almost sounds like it's going to go into James Bond themes every now and then, but then it goes to Hard Day's Night, but it's big orchestral, jazzy-like style. And the film made me laugh, which really can't be overstated. I can't tell you how many, you know, comedies over the past 5 years, how many recent comedies I've gone to see, and I just haven't laughed at. I've just not laughed as much as I wanted to. The thing is, in Help, I was laughing from almost the opening, I was laughing from literally the opening scene to the end. I mean, not all the comedy worked for me personally, because I'm not that age group, but personally, I was laughing out loud at almost all of this film, and honestly, I absolutely love Help, and I don't love Help just because it's a Beatles film, although I think if the Beatles weren't in it, it would be a completely different film. I love it because it's funny, it's all over the place and it knows it, it's a pastiche of those earlier Bond films, and at the same time though, it is a fantastic film in my opinion, a fantastically enjoyable and fun film that I had a huge smile on my face when watching. So all in all, I'm going to say that Help is I'm going to say it's an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, it's a bit outdated now, not all the comedy works for me all the time, but it worked for me most of the time, which I'm going to focus on. I'm going to focus on the positives for you, because honestly, I had such an enjoyable time in the film. I really did. Even if you just like the Beatles a bit, or, you know, you've heard a couple of the songs, you must have heard Hey Jude, or Let It Be, or, you know, Here Comes the Sun, and so on and so on and so on. If you just know the Beatles just a little bit, I think you'll find a lot of enjoyment in this film. I really did find a lot of enjoyment in this film. And again, I didn't just love it because I was a Beatles fan. I went into this with an open mind. I didn't go into this film biased when I watched it last night. I actually thought, oh, it'd just be a bit enjoyable. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. You know, I liked this film for many, many other reasons that don't actually focus on the Beatles. But at the same time, though, if the Beatles weren't in this film, it'd be a completely different film. And you know what? I absolutely love Help. And so for that reason, I'm going to say that Help is an 8.5 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of Help? Did you love it, to hate it, or have you just not watched it? And if not, why not? Please do comment down below and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like and subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more both film and TVs coming very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now. Bye!